everyone, it's Meg, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some rainy day reading recommendations. The autumn season is upon us, which means that the rain is coming. I mean, it's already here 365 days a year in the UK because, you know, we love, apparently the rain really likes us, and also, especially when you live up north, it is always really wet. But it gets even worse generally in the winter, so, you know, got that to look forward to. But even though the rain can be a pain sometimes, it can be amazing weather for reading, especially in the autumn when it's a little bit chillier and you can just cuddle up at home or in a cafe with your favourite book and a hot drink. And this is like the epitome when it comes to being a book lover and a book nerd. So I have a couple of book recommendations for you guys that I feel like are perfect rainy day reads. Everybody interprets this sort of rainy day reads differently. Some people go for like darker, more mysterious sort of reads towards Halloween. I'm kind of going for a mixture of all sorts of things. I go for books that make me feel cozy, that I feel like I can immerse myself in, that I can just read for a wonderfully long amount of time when I have those very rare days when it's autumn and rainy and I can just read till my heart's desire. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first two books I have are going to go together because they are by the same author, and I've talked about these a couple of times, but you guys know that I will not shut up about them, and that is A Sky Painted Gold and Under a Dancing Star by Laura Wood. I read these books back in the summer and I love them with all of my heart. I read A Sky Painted Gold first, which is Laura's first YA novel, and Under a Dancing Star is Laura's second YA novel. They are both historical fiction. A Sky Painted Gold is set in the 1920s in Cornwall and follows a girl named Lou who meets the Cardwell siblings, and they live in this big grand house off the coast of Penlyn. And it is basically about her summer being with these siblings and experiencing what it is like to be one of them. And then Under a Dancing Star is set in the 1930s and it follows a girl named Bee who goes to live with her uncle in Italy for the summer, and it is basically about her summer in Italy, and she meets all these artists who are taking residence at the villa over the summer. And both of these books are just so wonderful. Laura's writing is absolutely beautiful. She captures you from the very first sentence. Her characters are absolutely wonderful, so charismatic and witty and well-rounded, and there is so much banter in here. They are really funny, some laugh out loud moments. The romances are just, yes, they are so angsty and so wonderful, and I love them. And you will feel so many emotions reading these books, and it is also about these protagonists, our main protagonists, trying to figure out what they want to do and how to make their way in a world at a time, obviously, when women didn't have all the same rights and opportunities as we do now. And they, like I said, they are so immersive. Laura's writing makes you feel like you are there with them, whether you are in the orchard of the island of the Cardew house or if you are at the villa in Italy in the middle of the countryside. And obviously when it is raining outside, sometimes it's not always great and it's rather miserable. It can take you away to these beautiful, picturesque, sunny places for a little while at any rate, and you feel like you are with these characters in these stories. You are next to them, going through it with them, and I just love that so much about them. And they're just so feel-good reads. They're very quick to read. You could read them in a sitting or two. I just love them with all of my heart. So if you are looking for just a wonderful, heartwarming, funny reads, then I would definitely recommend these, especially if you're looking for a book with beautiful writing. Next up, I have The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, or particularly I could recommend the entire series. The Raven Boys is a series that I was really looking forward to reading. I read the first book in 2017, I believe, but I don't love it as much as everybody else does. I did still enjoy it. The second book put me in a massive reading slump, but I read the rest of the series on audiobook, which was definitely the way to go for me. And I feel like the audiobook is very suitable for autumn and for rainy days because it's so atmospheric. I love the narrator. I think he does such a good job of really creating that slightly creepy, eerie, magical atmosphere that these books have. This series basically follows 4 boys called the Raven Boys and a girl named Blue who is from a family of sidekicks, and it's about their adventures of finding a dead Welsh king. And that's all you really need to know going into these books. Unfortunately, like I said, I do not love them as much as everybody else does, but I do really enjoy the audiobooks. And it kind of fits like a Halloween read because it deals with ghosts and psychics and like magical energies and ley lines. So maybe this would probably be a good book, especially around Halloween time or just autumn and winter in general, if you were kind of looking for that sort of eerie read that goes on an adventure. And I do enjoy it, like I said, I just don't enjoy it as much as everybody else seems to, but I definitely really enjoyed the audiobook, so I would 100% recommend the audiobooks if you are looking to pick up this series. Next up, I have a book that I have not read in ages and I really need to reread. I think I put this on a reread list or in another video saying that I need to reread it. So yeah, I need to pick it up again, and that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Illyri Sands. This book I read back in like 2016, 2017, a little while ago, and I remember absolutely loving it. It is such a wonderful story about 2 boys named Ari and Dante who meet at a swimming pool one day and then they form a friendship, and it's kind of a coming of age and like self-discovery story, and it is just so beautiful. Benjamin's writing is so beautiful. I love the characters. I love Ari and Dante. They are everything. I love the LGBTQ plus representation, and it's just such a beautiful story. And rain is also quite a prominent thing and a theme in this book. So obviously if you're reading it on a rainy day, it is just wonderful to kind of have that connection, I guess. And it's like it's a very easy, quick read. You could read this in a couple of sittings or maybe 2, and it's just that perfect book to just curl up with, and it's just so wonderful, and I really need to reread it. Next up, I have another book that I really need to reread, and that is The Astonishing Colour of After by Emily X. Arpan. This book is about a girl named Lee whose mother has recently committed suicide, and she believes her mother has turned into a bird. So she goes off to Taiwan to meet her maternal grandparents for the first time to try and discover the mystery of her mother as she has been turned into a bird. This is a very beautiful story. It is quite sad. It is a lot sadder, I guess. Is that really a word? I'm putting it as a word compared to some of these other books that I'm recommending, but it is just so beautiful. It's quite a slow book. It's not far off 500 pages, so it's a slower read, but if you kind of want that slow burn book that you can just really curl up with when it's a little bit gloomy outside and the rain is pouring and you don't plan on going anywhere because it's chucking it down, which is going to be quite a common theme for me this autumn because Britain and rain go together. But it's just such a wonderful book, and even though it is very sad, there is a lot of hope in it, which I really enjoy. And I also love how the topic of suicide and depression are handled in this. Even though it will have you with all the feels, like all the feels, it is just such a really nice book to just curl up with and read and just fully enjoy and take your time with. The second to last book I have on this list is Eliza and the Monsters by Francesca Zappia. This is a book about a girl named Eliza who is the creator of a very famous webcomic called Monstrous Sea, and she is very famous online and everybody loves her comic, and she is an anonymous creator, should I say. But in real life she is a bit of a loner. She doesn't really have any friends. She confines herself to her room and she's just known as a bit of a freak at school. And then one day a new boy named Wallace comes to her school who she makes friends with, and then she finds out that he is the creator of Monstrous Sea's most famous fanfiction, and she knows who he is, but he does not know that she is the creator of this webcomic. This is one of my favourite books of all time, and you guys should know that by now, so obviously I had to include it in this list. It is just such a really wonderful read. It's very quick and easy, and obviously the first half of this book is so cute and fluffy and just really, really lovely, and then obviously if you have read it, the last 100 pages also are just like super hard hitting. It just totally changes. It will have you feeling everything, but it is just such a wonderful book, and obviously with it being a bit of a webcomic, and it also has illustrations in it and snippets from the comic, it kind of gives a different experience to it as well, which is why I feel like it would be a really good book to read on a rainy day, as you kind of have all these different elements which keeps you really engaged, and also everything is just so wonderful about this book, so how could you not read it, whether it is sunny, rainy, winter or summer or autumn. It is just the perfect read for every weather, and especially if you want a book to get lost in, I would definitely recommend this book. And the final book I have on this list is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I feel like I haven't talked much about this book since I read it at the beginning of the year, but this is about a girl named Frances who is in her final year of sixth form, and she is applying for universities, and part of this book is about academic pressure, about the expectations that society has on you getting good grades so you can go to a good university and then get a good job. And I guess the second main topic of this book is about a podcast, I guess you could say it's called. It's kind of a podcast, kind of not, called University that Frances loved, and that is all you really need to know. This is the first Alice Oseman book that I ever read, and I read this so fast, especially for me. I read it in about a week, which for me is pretty fast. It was just so immersive. I could get invested in the story straight away, and I feel like that is why it would be such a good rainy read, because it is quite a quick read, and also it is very immersive again, so you are invested and engaged throughout the whole entire book, and it's just one of those lovely, lovely books. It is very funny as well. There's a lot of British humour in there, which obviously I love, but yeah, I just really, really enjoy it. It's a wonderful book, and to be honest with you, most of Alice Oseman's books are probably great for a rainy day, but this is definitely my favourite of hers that I've read so far. So those are all the books that I have for you guys to recommend for when you want to read on a rainy day. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, if you enjoyed them, or some books that you love to read on a rainy day. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and little bell icon so you'll be noted every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave the links to my social media along with the links to my blog and my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!